Hi, I'm Lynda Hafner, top producing realtor at ERAQ Realty in Central Massachusetts. Today, let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Central Mass. Thanks so much for being here. Just to give you a little history so you know that I qualify, I've lived in Central Mass most of my life. Behind me, you can see these are all of the towns in Massachusetts that I've lived. Now, some of them, granted, are Metro West, and I did go to college in Boston for 4 years, but the majority of my life between growing up and my adult life has been in Central Massachusetts. So I know quite a bit about Central Mass. First pro has to be location. It's considered Central Mass, but it's also centrally located. Within about an hour, you can get to Boston, Cape Cod, Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Nashua, New Hampshire. I mean, really, you know, if you're working in any of those areas, it's not that bad of a commute. An hour, give or take, you know, depending on where in Central Mass you are and where you work. Not bad. Worcester is the second biggest city in Massachusetts. It is going through a major transformation and becoming a lot more popular. It's definitely west of Boston, and it's less populated, although it's still a city, and there are so many suburbs that in the area that are affordable, less populated. There's more woods, there's more just less crowding. It's a nice place to live. You've got the great location, and then it has good affordability compared to Boston. So Boston is really pricey. If you want to live in Boston, you are really paying out the nines. You know, Worcester and the surrounding towns in that area are definitely more affordable. Yes, you have to drive, you know, an hour to get to Boston, but the price and the money you save on houses and cost of living is significantly better. So that would be another pro for Central Mass, would be affordability, for sure. Another pro about being in Central Mass is that you have access within an hour to over 70 Boston area colleges, and really good colleges. We're talking Harvard, MIT, Northeastern, BU, BC, so many colleges. In fact, I went to college for 4 years in Boston. Awesome experience, loved it. Great place to live. I wouldn't want to live there all the time because it is too crowded for me. I'm more of a country girl. I like to be out in nature. But, you know, there are plenty of people who love the city and love going into the city, and it's very handy to be this close. Also, outstanding healthcare, which is another pro. Mass General is the #1 hospital in all of US, and it's rated that way many years in a row, and that is just the #1. Then there's multiple other hospitals in Boston that are very highly esteemed and great places to go for healthcare. And even in Worcester, which is right in Central Mass, UMass Memorial, I think it was rated like #7 as far as healthcare in Massachusetts. It's really good hospital. They've got excellent care. I personally go there. And, you know, awesome things to say about it. This next pro, not everyone will agree on, but growing up in Central Mass, I really love the spice of life that is offered with the change of seasons. I mean, spring, summer, fall, winter, well, not so much. That's one of the cons. We'll get into that. But in spring, you know, the flowers are all coming up, the crocuses, the tulips, the daffodils. It's exciting. You know, you've been in winter all like, and then spring happens, and it brings this whole new energy. And summer, I mean, summer is wonderful, you know, is in Massachusetts. And fall, oh my gosh, the harvest, the fall, the pumpkins, the you know, all of the fairs that are going on, and the changing of the leaves, and the leaves can be gorgeous. There's a lot of variety with the seasons. Does it require a lot of clothes? Yes, it does. Do you have to change your clothes often? Yes, it does. But it does keep things interesting, So looking at the positive, I consider this to be a pro. Consider a huge pro to be the low risk of hurricanes and tornadoes. They do happen occasionally, rarely. They're never like what you see down the south. I love the insurance of knowing that the money I invested in my home is not going to be wiped out by a natural disaster. Give that some thought. Central Massachusetts has a lot of hidden gems to see and do. There's Purgatory Chasm, there's the Tower Hill Botanical Gardens, there is Southwick Zoo, there's Old Sturbridge Village. Awesome. It takes you back to the 1800s and what life was like there. Amazing place to go visit. I used to go there in a school bus for our field trip many times. Great educational place for kids, so much to do. There are plenty of lakes, parks. Wachusett Mountain, you can actually ski in Central Mass. Most people don't think of skiing in Central Mass. Maybe the mountains aren't quite as big as New Hampshire and Vermont, but it doesn't take that long to get to New Hampshire or Vermont to go skiing from here. So many good reasons to live here. So now let's talk about a couple of the cons. We don't get hurricanes and tornadoes very often, but we do get snow. It is probably, in my opinion, the worst part of living here. I cure that by trying to take all of my big trips in the winter and getting away and going to some tropical place to escape the snow for a little period of time. And the cold. It gets cold. You need winter coats, you need mittens, you need hats. It's great for little kids, but as you get older, shoveling that snow, dealing with that snow, not fun. Definitely number one con about living in Central Massachusetts. Being only an hour from a lot of major cities is a huge plus until you have to actually commute it every single morning. And I'm gonna tell you that's a con. It's a pro, but it's also a con because if you're doing that every single day in rush hour traffic, you're sitting in a lot of traffic. And I mean, it's not LA, but it's trafficy and it is going to take you a long time. So I don't want to say that people in Central Mass are unfriendly because that isn't true. I have a lot of friendly people and clients, but the way it works here is a little different than how it works to the south. You don't just go around talking to everybody and anybody. It's kind of like a little bit of a New York City vibe. You know, there's lots of people around you, but you don't necessarily talk to them. It's kind of like that in Massachusetts, I think. You know, people tend to keep a little bit more to themselves. Not gonna lie, people do tend to get a little cranky with all the snow and the cold. You know, January and February are not friendly months in Central Mass. Just wait until spring. But in all honesty, if you can get through January and February, every other month has really great redeeming qualities. And it is an awesome place to live. I do love living here. Would I like to live in Hawaii? Yeah, sure, I really would. But Central Mass is home. My whole family's here and there is so much that I love about it. So if you're considering Central Mass and you want to live here, please, by all means, reach out to me. If you have any questions about the area, I am available.